Mozambique is concerned, sir, the honourable member has referred to unrest. Sir, there is an issue there. We are in partnership with an international group of companies. He mentioned one of them. And there are local conditions which are of, I would say, I would perhaps call it unrest is too mild a term, but there are issues of dealing with a form of insurgency there. We are in touch with these people, and the project is under what is called force majeure. And the $6 billion investment by Indian companies, we are very confident.
They found a gas field so big that it could reshape India's energy future, but also so dangerous that it's been silent for years. Imagine offshore rigs bombed, remote islands with sentries patrolling, and boardrooms in New Delhi making billion-dollar bets on whether peace returns. What if India's next energy lifeline depends on something happening thousands of kilometers away on the jagged coast of Mozambique? This is the story of how India is quietly gearing up to change where it gets its energy, why Mozambique is central to that plan, and what stands between the dream and the disaster. By the end of this video, you will understand why this gas project could be as consequential as any major oil find and why it might also be one of the biggest gambles. Let's dig in. Off the northern coast of Mozambique lies the Rovuma Basin. Stretching into Area 1 and Area 4, it holds trillions of cubic feet of natural gas. Some estimates put these reserves among the largest in recent decades. One part, called the Mamba South Field in Area 4, alone holds something like 15 trillion cubic feet. That's a number so large, it's hard to picture, but for India, it represents a chance to finally break free of vulnerabilities tied to energy imports. India doesn't just want a small piece of that. Indian state-owned firms ONGC Videsh, Oil India, Bharat Petroresources by PCL hold about 30% in some major projects, especially in Area 1, also called Mozambique LNG, or the Total Energies-led project. The scale is not just about gas in the ground, it's about liquefaction plants, export terminals, pipelines, ships. Mozambique's northern province, Cabo Delgado, has become the fulcrum of multiple large-scale LNG and floating LNG projects. And yet, size alone isn't enough. What's hidden behind all these shares, reserves, and plants is something much more fragile, and we'll see why that fragility may be India's biggest risk, but also its greatest opportunity. India's energy needs are exploding. Growing industry, cooling needs, transport all make demand for cleaner, stable fuel sources urgent. Natural gas is seen as a bridge fuel, cleaner than coal, more controllable than oil. But imports of LNG and pipeline gas from other countries are expensive and risky. Shipping costs, geopolitical risk, supply chain disruptions, fluctuating global prices, all these bites into India's energy security. By owning stakes in foreign gas fields, India hopes to lock in more predictable, long-term supplies. Mozambique is geographically distant, yes, but southern routes, maritime logistics, favorable contracts, and proximity to Asia make Mozambique more feasible than many farther alternatives. Plus, with LNG liquefied natural gas, distance becomes less of a barrier. Yet having gas reserves and wanting gas are two different things. To turn reserves into usable energy for Indian homes, factories, grids, there are obstacles. We'll examine what's been holding things back. In 2021, after a series of attacks by insurgents linked to extremist groups in Mozambique's Cabo Delgado region, operators declared force majeure over Mozambique LNG's Area 1 project. That paused work, disrupted investment, and raised red flags. The security situation improved slowly, but needs strong commitment. Roads, ports, work camps, all must be safe. Foreign firms won't pour dollars in unless there is confidence that people, infrastructure, and investment won't be destroyed. Regulatory, political delays also matter. Local communities displaced, environmental concerns, disagreements about compensation or local content have generated friction. Plus, global energy price swings can make projects formerly profitable suddenly marginal. Even with these risks, Indian firms remain in. The next section shows exactly how India is managing to move forward, despite all the setbacks, and what that says about its energy strategy. India has approved multiple investment tranches, ONGC Videsh's board okayed a chunk of money in rupees and dollars to support loan financing and equity stakes in Mozambique LNG projects there. Is Area 1 Mozambique LNG Total Energies led, which India is heavily invested in, an area for including Coral South, Coral North, which also features large fields being tapped, some already exporting? India is trying to time things, insist that force majeure be lifted, that security is stable, that infrastructure, for example pipelines, ports, is ready. Some projections say the Mozambique LNG project could be commissioned by late 2027 to early 2028. Indian companies are aligning their domestic policy to energy transition goals, reducing coal dependence, meeting climate targets, having cleaner gas sources gives India more leverage in its energy mix. Still, money alone won't solve everything. There are environmental, geopolitical, and social angles that could turn up the heat or blow up the deal. While the gas fields promise revenue, employment, infrastructure, the people of Cabo Delgado often feel left behind. Land resettlements have uprooted families, compensation can be delayed, and many locals worry they won't see a fair share of the benefits. There are ecological questions too. Offshore drilling, coastal disruption, the risk of spills or pollution, and how fung plants affect marine life. Mozambique needs to manage all this while balancing foreign investment and local welfare. Then there's the question of governance and risk of corruption. Big resource projects often come with big money trails. Contracts, royalties, environmental regulation, how these are enforced will determine whether this becomes a boon or a burden. Also, for a nation still quite poor in many parts, social services, education, health infrastructure need parallel investment. Without that, even a huge gas boom might fail to lift many people out of poverty. Mozambique's government and its foreign partners need to ensure local content, job training, safe working conditions, all of which raises this question: can India get what it needs, gas, energy security, without being dragged into endless conflict, environmental backlash, or moral compromise? We'll now look at what could make or break that. If everything goes well, force majeure lifted soon. Security stays stable. Major gas supply begins by 2027-28. India secures cheaper, reliable LNG. Domestic gas infrastructure regasification, pipeline scales up to distributed. That would help reduce import costs, lower emissions compared to coal, and improve energy reliability, especially in demand hot seasons. But there are worse possibilities. Delays could drag in 2 years. Violence could flare again. Global LNG prices could spike, making the investment less profitable. Climate pressures might force stricter regulations or cause financiers to pull out. India could be left with sunk costs and uncertain returns. India also has to juggle domestic energy policy, balancing between renewables, solar, wind, etc., and gas. Gas is cleaner than coal but still carbon emitting. How will investors, regulators, and the public weigh that? Another risk: international competition. Other countries want Mozambique's gas too. If India delays or underperforms, others could swoop in. Contracts may get less favorable. So India must move fast but carefully. Knowing all this, what does India's best path forward look like? And will that path protect both its energy future and Mozambique's people and environment? India's investment in Mozambique's natural gas fields is a high-stakes bet, one that could reshape its energy map, reduce its dependence on more volatile sources, and help the country take a leap toward cleaner power. But the promise comes with a caveat: unless security improves, unless local communities benefit fairly, unless regulatory and environmental safeguards hold up, the dream could fracture. Right now, India is at a crossroads. Push forward and hope that all pieces fall into place, or stall and risk letting this opportunity slip along with the costs already sunk. For Mozambique, the stakes are equally high. This could mean real economic transformation or another missed moment in history. In the end, what matters is not just how much gas is in the ground, or how many contracts are signed, but whether this cooperation builds something enduring: energy security, yes, but also trust, fairness, ecological stewardship. That is why this isn't just about gas, it is about what kind of future India and Mozambique want to build together.